Hi, this is Mr. Curtis. I was going to do a walkthrough of what I expect from you when you take notes, just kind of an example. So first, you got to go to Clever. Hopefully you've bookmarked that. Here's my mouse. There's the Clever bookmark. The bell. Okay, we're going to log in. Fort Smith login thing. There's my page where you're looking for McGraw-Hill, the red thing there. Let me go ahead and elevate this a little bit. It's a little bit better. All right. So we're getting into the textbook. You got to know which chapter you're taking notes on. I'm just going to give you the example of first chapter here. You're going to need to write these down on paper, right? And then you're going to take a picture and turn that in. Okay. You can't do it digitally, all right? Unless you have you'll okay. You can email me personally, and I'll check your records to see if you've been diagnosed with like dysgraphia, which means you can't write stuff. But otherwise, you need to practice your handwriting, and you got to do this. And the other thing is, if it's digital, then some students cheat and just share. One person take notes and they share it with the other people digitally, and it's like that's not right. It's not good. All right, so you log into your book, and so our first one is chapter 3. All right, chapter 3, lesson 1, and then you go. Okay. Now most students will make this first mistake. They start writing down stuff very quickly. You shouldn't do that. You should read the section first and try to get into the story. All right. So here it is. You're doing notes over 2 squares. So down here are the squares. So it's 1 block and 2 block. So I'm going to read those 2 blocks first. Blocke, I see you. Okay. The Protestant Reformation. A German priest and professor named Martin Luther began the Protestant Reformation in the early 1500s. Prior developments, such as widespread intellectual changes during the preceding century. Oh, up here, if you really want to, there's like a headphone thing that'll read it out loud for you. Some people like to read it out loud, but you have to actually try. You can't press play and then just start looking at your phone or playing video games or doing whatever. Like, that's not learning. It's not. You're in 9th grade. You can spend 25 minutes and better your life through learning. You can do it. I believe in you. All right. So, but if you want to, you can press the audio and then read along with it, as long as you're engaging your mind. So, during the second half of the 15th century, the new classical learning that was part of the Italian Renaissance, humanism, spread to Northern Europe. From that came the movement called Christian humanism, or Northern Renaissance humanism. The major goal of this movement was the reform of the Catholic Church. The Christian humanists believed in the ability of the human beings to reason and improve themselves. They thought if people read the classics, and especially the fundamental teachings of Christianity and the Bible, they would become more sincerely religious. An effect of this religious feeling would be a reform of the church and society. The best-known Christian humanist was Desiderius Erasmus. Erasmus believed that Christianity should show people how to live good lives on a daily basis, not just provide beliefs that might help them to be saved. He also thought that the Catholic Church needed to return to the simpler days of early Christianity, stressing the inwardness of religious feelings. Erasmus thought the external forms of medieval religion, such as pilgrimage, fasts, and relics, were not all that important. Let's go to Blocke 2. Erasmus wanted to educate people in the works of Christianity and worked to criticize the abuses in the church. In his satire, The Praise of Folly, written in 1509, Erasmus humorously criticized society's moral and religious state and called for a simpler, purer faith. In this passage, he satirizes, that's like using sarcasm, and he views as the folly of clergy who encourage the practice of visiting the shrines of saints. They attribute strange virtues to the shrines and images of saints and martyrs, and so would make their credulous proselytes believe that if they pay their devotion to Saint Christopher in the morning, they shall be guarded and secured the day following from all dangers and misfortunes. If soldiers were, when they first take arms, shall come and mumble over such a set prayer before the picture of Saint Barbara, they shall return safe from all engagements, from the praise of folly. So he's saying, look, just because you pray to an icon doesn't mean you can't leave your reason and your brain behind. Okay? You still gotta work hard, use reason, and now, hey, he's not saying praying isn't useless, but he's saying you can't just, it's not like a superstition, weird thing. Gotta use your brain. Erasmus sought reform with the Catholic Church. His intention was not to have people break away from it. His ideas, however, prepared the way for the Reformation. As people of his day said, Erasmus laid the egg that Luther hatched. Erasmus, Christian humanist, not only one calling for reform, popular songs and printed images of the era, as well as the court records, show that ordinary people, humanists, and some church leaders were critical of the church. For example, in 1450 to 1520, a series of Renaissance popes were viewed as more concerned with Italian politics and worldly interests than the spiritual needs of their people. Church officials were viewed as using their church offices to advance their careers and their wealth. At the same time, many ordinary parish priests appeared to their parishioners as ignorant of their spiritual duties. That's sad. People wanted to know how to save their souls, but many parish priests appeared unwilling or unable to offer them advice or instruction. Helps me to read stuff out loud. Won't take long. You can do that at home too. Okay. So once I've read the 2 pages, then I go back and I got to go, okay, I can only take 4 things with me. I'm only going to write down 4 things for my notes. But first step is read. Second step is review and pick out the 4 things you're going to take. And here's the 4 things I want you to take. Here we go. Boom. Clock. Something that has to do with a time. Okay. And what is important about that time. This dash means a key word and its definition. A star means any old, Drake meme, The star is any fact that you think is important, and make it a good one. Some people were telling me weird stuff like, I don't know, like what was Erasmus's book? I'm like, I don't care. It's the praise of folly, but that's not an important question. I'll show you more of what to do. And then question mark means if you were a teacher and you were to make a quiz, what one question would you want them to be able to answer about this? Make it easy. Last year, students were making this question so hard. Like, when was the Praise of Folly published? I'm like, I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to show you some examples. All right. So let's go back and look at some date stuff. All right, I'm going back. A German priest, Martin Luther, began the Protestant Reformation in the early 1500s. Man, that is good. A German, boom. I'm just going to copy that. Now, you would write this down on paper, right? Hi. German priest, Professor named Martin Luther, began the Protestant Reformation in the early 1500s. Boom, has a date, has an important fact. You just write that down, okay? You can put it in your own words, but it needs to be something like that. All right, so now key word. I think it was something about Christian humanism, fundamental, external. I like that Christian humanism. A movement that developed in Northern Europe during the Renaissance, combining classical learning, humanism, with the goal of reforming the Catholic Church. I don't know if I want all that definition. I don't care that it's a movement that developed in Northern Europe during the Renaissance. How about, let's see. Maybe I will copy all of it, but I'll take out some. My movement. Copy. Let's see. Christian humanism. Now, see, that's just really long definition. You want to underline your word on your paper, okay? a movement that developed in Northern Europe during the Renaissance, combining classical learning and humanism with the goal of reforming the Catholic Church. Movement combining classical learning and humanism with the goal of reforming the Catholic. There we go. Seems pretty good. All right, a key fact. I like. Let's see. The second page was kind of about like, hey, he was wanting to reform the church. These other people were wanting to reform the church. And I like this thing. It says, people said Erasmus laid the egg that Luther hatched. I'm going to write that down. Quote. Erasmus laid the egg that Luther hatched. What does that kind of mean? Lots of people wanted reform. And a question. Make it simple, guys. Like, where did this take place? By the way, don't repeat one of these above facts in here. Don't be like, when did Martin Luther start it? You already have that fact up here. What is Christian humanism? No, you already have that. So don't do that as your question. All right. Who hatched the egg of Erasmus? No, that was your other fact. So make something different than the other three things you wrote. Okay. I don't have in here where the Reformation was. So just nice and simple. It pretty much started in Europe. Okay. If you want to watch this video, great. Watch the video. Maybe you could say priests. No. Just make it really general. All right. Maybe like, what does Reformation mean? Okay. I'm going to just put this question. What part of the world? In what part of the world did the Reformation in? And then I put in parentheses the answer, Europe. Cool. That's it. And then I go, okay. Then I go on to the next two blocks, 3 and 4. Again, first step is read it, try to understand the flow, and then go back and go, okay, what are the important things I need to take away? One date, one key word, one key fact, and one question. Okay. I encourage you to read both pages before you decide those things so that you know what's important. Don't just start writing down the first sentence that you see. Okay. Cool. You guys will get better at this. This is a very, very, very good skill to have, and I want to develop it really well this semester. So awesome. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.